A very good evening to all of you. On the last and final day of presentation semester 2, my today's topic is stream of consciousness and exploration of a literary technique. This is my personal information. In the table of contents, these are some major points which I'm gonna discuss about in my entire presentation. Definition of a stream of consciousness, importance of understanding stream of consciousness in literature, notable characteristics, examples from literature, and conclusion. So let's begin with an introduction. Stream of consciousness technique occupies an important position in 20th century fiction. The literary technique that represents the thoughts and feelings of a character as they occur. The term was first used by the psychologist William James in the Principles of Psychology in his book in the year 1890. In the article named What is the Stream of Consciousness Technique by Lawrence Edward Bowling, in that Frederick J. Hoffman observed and made a comment that writers and critics are both confused by the idea of interior monologue or the stream of consciousness as it is more primarily known. The stream of consciousness is a new narrative technique which plays a very important role in the 20th century literature. Stream of consciousness is a new narrative style which depicts the characters' thought process through their minds. Which depicts the characters' thoughts process through their minds in a very realistic way. Here I have taken one line from the article that writers and critics are both confused by the idea of interior monologue or the stream of consciousness, because in some way both the terms are often used as a synonym for each other. But here we have to understand that interior monologue and a stream of consciousness both depicts the same idea, that it represents the character's thoughts towards the readers, and that is why we can say that perhaps they both referred as the same in one or the another way. Definition of stream of consciousness. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary of English Language, stream of consciousness means the continuous, unedited, chronological flow of conscious experience through the character's mind. Importance of understanding stream of consciousness in literature. In literature, the phrase refers to the flow of these thoughts with reference to a particular character's thinking process. This literary device is usually used in order to provide a narrative in the form of the character's thoughts instead of using dialogues or descriptions. The thought process in the mind of character is never coherent and jumps from one to another. The cruel effects of the World War had changed people's thoughts, and as a result, literature too changed along with that due to the fundamental human experiences. Men came from the war disillusioned with the way that people saw, did, and experienced. So that is how this new technique emerged during the 20th century for the modern writers. As we have seen the definition of stream of consciousness, now we have to understand that what is this literary technique played a vital role in literature. That this new technique, stream of consciousness, is very much important in modern times, or we can say 20th century, because it puts more emphasis on a character's thoughts rather than any kind of dialogues or descriptions. The thought process in the mind of the characters is never coherent. Coherent means not logical, which is logical, or we can say continuous, but it never coherent because it jumps from one thought to the another. If it is coherent, then it became very much easy for us to understand. But in this new narrative style, stream of consciousness, the character's thoughts are jumps from one to another, and that is why it is difficult to understand. After the cruel effects of the world war, people's way of looking at the things also changed, and that is why along with that literature also changed due to the fundamental human experiences. And that is why this new technique, which is a stream of consciousness, helped a lot in depicting or reflecting the people's thoughts or ideas about what they saw, did and experienced during the world war. Notable characteristics of stream of consciousness: it records multifarious thoughts and feelings. In this technique, the speaker's thoughts are more often depicted as overhead in the mind. The authors of this technique follow visual, auditory, tactile, associative impressions and express them using interior monologue of the characters. The main aim of this technique is at expressing in words about flow of characters' thoughts and feelings in their minds. The technique named stream of consciousness aspires to give readers the impression of being inside the mind of the characters. So, these are some major characteristics of this new literary technique, we can say, or this technique helped readers to be being inside about the mind of the characters. That through this technique, we can understand that what is the character is, we can understand about his thoughts or ideas. Some examples from literature: the novelist must build the world in which his characters will live. For the stream of consciousness novelist, this problem is one of unusual importance. James Joyce postpones using lengthy stream of consciousness passages until he has established the outline of the main characters, their relationships, and the world in which they live. For James Joyce, his fiction is marked by moments of intense realization when his characters suddenly discover truths about themselves and are given moments of intense sight. So, as an example, I have taken the references of two novels. One is James Joyce novels, The Ulysses, and the other one is Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. In both the novels, we can greatly explore the idea of this new literary technique, which is stream of consciousness. But James Joyce postponed using the lengthy and descriptive ideas until he established the outline of the main characters and their relationships with each other. Okay, so let's see that examples. One example is from James Joyce novels Ulysses. James Joyce novel Ulysses can be considered as one of the best example of this stream of consciousness technique. The characters in Ulysses have their own problems and they have an unbroken flow of perception, feelings, and thoughts in waking mind. The mental process of characters is vividly shown through stream of consciousness technique. James Joyce's great novel that sees the work as an expansive and encompassing study of the mind, which one can organize and interactions with the world. So, one of the most famous example of this technique is James Joyce's novels Ulysses. In this novel, James Joyce interferes by saying that the stream of consciousness is a one kind of technique in which we can understand that character's mind is never static. As we know that the thoughts are continuously coming in our mind, and our mind cannot be static because the thoughts are continuously there in our mind, and that is why it depicts the real problems of the characters in the novel, and it vividly shown through stream of consciousness technique. In the novel Ulysses, the narrator of the novel is passing from one thought to another thought, and not even he is taking time in breathing, and that is why the narrator is continuously passes from one thought to another thought. Another example is Virginia Woolf's novel Mrs. Dalloway. The novel details a day in the life of Clarissa Dalloway, who is the main character and narrator in the novel, a fictional high society woman in post First World War England. The novel addresses Clarissa's preparations for a party that she will host that evening. With an interior perspective, the story travels both forwards and backwards, means past and present in time, and in out of character's mind to construct an image of Clarissa's life. So that is how this novel also explores the technique of stream of consciousness by Virginia Woolf through the character of Clarissa Dalloway. This novel, Mrs. Dalloway, written by Virginia Woolf, does not depict any kind of plot, or we can say vivid picture or imagery, but it depicts about the one important character and narrator, who is Clarissa Dalloway, who continuously passes from one thought to another, and at one time she goes back to in her past memory, and after that she came back into her present memory. So that is how the novel, we can say that Virginia Woolf succeeded best way in depicting the new literary term, which is the stream of consciousness, through her novel. Conclusion. To conclude, one can see the role of stream of consciousness in literature is typically as a character study. It is such a purposeful and innovative in the modern prose style. Hence, the study of this literary technique tried to locate how far these novelists have succeeded in achieving it. So, the stream of consciousness is typically, we can say that it is a study about a character and his or her thoughts, and it is very purposeful and innovative also in the modern prose style. And as we look at it from the perspective of modern writers, then we can consider three main major who coined, we can say, used this term in their works, which is Virginia Woolf, James Joyce, and William Faulkner. These are my work citations. Thank you. And now questions can be asked.
Hetal, my question is, can stream of consciousness be used effectively in genres other than literary fiction such as poetry or non-fiction?
Okay, from my perspective, as I have taken examples from the novels like Mrs. Dalloway and James Joyce Ulysses, so I don't have that much idea that it can be used in a poetry or non-fiction. But according to my understanding, I feel that the stream of consciousness can be effectively used in novels.
Yes. Hetal, my question is how the stream of consciousness technique affects the reader's experience of literary work.
Okay, so stream of consciousness techniques affects the reader's experience of literary work in a very well way, because as we have seen that this technique has had a very great idea about we can know about the characters' past memories, or what happened with them in the past, and through this technique we can understand about these things. So this technique has a great idea about the, we can say that how the characters passes from one thought to another thought which is not coherent. And when any writer, or we can say novelist, applied this technique in their works, then it is very much useful or purposeful for us, that we can understand that sometimes what is difficult is that ideas which is presented is not coherent, but still we want to read it because in one way or the other way we liked that technique which is used. Or I hope that my answer satisfied you. Thank you.